Picture this. You're standing alone in a pitch-black bathroom. The only light comes from a single candle. Your heart is pounding, your hands are trembling, and all you have to do is stare into the mirror and say 3 simple words, 3 times. According to legend, if you do this correctly, something will appear behind you in that mirror. Something that shouldn't exist. Something that wants to hurt you. This is the legend of Bloody Mary, a ritual performed by millions of children and teenagers across the world. A game that has survived for generations, spreading from slumber party to slumber party, school to school, country to country. But why does this legend refuse to die? Where did it come from? And most terrifyingly, does it actually work? Before we dive into the dark history, let's break down the ritual itself. Because even though almost everyone has heard of Bloody Mary, the rules change depending on who you ask. Step 1. Find a bathroom with a mirror. Most versions say it must be done at night, and some insist it has to be exactly at midnight. Step 2. Turn off all the lights. Complete darkness. Some versions allow a single candle for light, while others demand pitch blackness. Step 3. Stand directly in front of the mirror, close enough to see your reflection, even in the dim light. Step 4. This is where it gets interesting. You must chant Bloody Mary a specific number of times. The most common version says 3 times, but other variations claim you need to say it 13 times, or even 100 times. Some versions add extra steps, spinning around between chants, running the faucet, flushing the toilet, or holding a candle at eye level. Regional variations use different names entirely. I believe in Mary Worth, Mary Wales, Hail Mary, or even Kathy, come out. But regardless of which version you follow, they all agree on one thing. If you complete the ritual correctly, something will happen, something terrifying. According to thousands of eyewitness accounts, you might see Bloody Mary herself appear in the mirror. A ghostly woman with a mangled, blood-covered face. Her eyes might be hollow black voids, her mouth twisted in rage. Some say she'll scream at you. Others claim she'll reach through the mirror and scratch your face, leaving permanent scars. The darkest versions say she'll drag you into the mirror, trapping your soul forever in her realm. And here's what makes this legend so persistent. Thousands of people, maybe millions, swear they've actually experienced something. Real people with real stories. I saw a woman's face appear behind mine. I ran out screaming and never did it again. 3 scratches appeared on the mirror that weren't there before. All of my friends saw them. I felt ice-cold hands grab my shoulders. When I spun around, nothing was there. Her eyes. I'll never forget those eyes. Completely black, staring right into me. So what's really going on here? To answer that, we need to go back, way back. The Bloody Mary legend doesn't have a single origin story. Instead, it's like a twisted tapestry woven from multiple dark threads of history, each one contributing to the nightmare we know today. Theory 1. Bloody Mary Tudor. The most popular theory traces the legend back to Queen Mary of England, who ruled from 1553 to 1558. History remembers her as Bloody Mary, and she earned that name through sheer brutality. In her desperate attempt to restore Catholicism to England, she ordered the execution of nearly 300 religious dissenters. They were burned at the stake. The streets ran with blood. Her reign was marked by paranoia, violence, and tragedy. But Mary's personal life was equally dark. She suffered from what doctors now believe were phantom pregnancies. Her body showing all the signs of pregnancy, but no child ever came. The psychological toll was devastating. She died alone, childless, and despised by her people. Some folklorists believe that centuries of retelling transformed this historical monster into a literal one, a vengeful spirit who haunts mirrors, forever seeking the children she could never have. Theory 2, Mary Worth, the Witch. But there's a problem with the Queen Mary theory. The legend as we know it doesn't mention royalty at all. It's about mirrors and curses and a woman named Mary Worth. In American folklore, particularly in the Midwest and East Coast, stories circulate about a woman named Mary Worth who was accused of witchcraft in the 1600s or 1700s. According to legend, she was either hanged or burned at the stake. With her dying breath, she cursed anyone who would speak her name while looking into a mirror. Another version claims Mary Worth was a young woman who died in a horrific car accident in the 1960s, her face shattered beyond recognition. Unable to accept her disfigurement, her spirit became trapped in mirrors, forever trying to reclaim her beauty by stealing the faces of others. Yet another tale describes Mary as a woman who lived alone on the edge of town and kidnapped children, draining their blood in dark rituals. When the townspeople discovered her crimes, they killed her, but her evil was too strong to die. Here's the disturbing truth. None of these Mary Worths can be verified. Historians have searched. There's no evidence any of them actually existed. They appear to be invented backstories, created to explain a ritual that was already being performed. Theory 3, ancient mirror scrying. So maybe we're asking the wrong question. Maybe Bloody Mary isn't about a specific person at all. Maybe she's the modern face of something much, much older. For thousands of years across dozens of cultures, humans have used mirrors and reflective surfaces to glimpse the unknown. The ancient Greeks consulted mirrors at the Oracle of Delphi. Medieval Europeans practiced katoptromancy, the art of divination through mirrors. And here's where it gets directly relevant. In Victorian England and America, there was a widespread parlor game where young unmarried women would sit in a darkened room with a mirror and candles, hoping to see the face of their future husband appear in the glass. But there was a terrifying twist. If you saw a skull instead of a man's face, it meant you would die before you could marry. Death was coming for you. This is likely the direct ancestor of Bloody Mary, a divination ritual that, over decades, twisted and darkened. By the 1960s and 70s, it had fully transformed from fortune-telling into horror, from seeing your future to summoning something evil. The ritual exploded during the slumber party culture of the 1980s and 90s. It appeared in horror movies, TV shows, and schoolyard whispers. By the time the internet arrived, Bloody Mary had achieved legendary status, passed down through generations as a rite of passage. So here's the million-dollar question. Why do so many people genuinely believe they've seen Bloody Mary? Are they all lying? Are they crazy? Or is something else happening? Turns out there's some absolutely fascinating science behind why this ritual works. The Troxler effect. In 2010, researcher Giovanni Caputo at the University of Urbino in Italy conducted an experiment. He had participants stare at their own reflection in a dimly lit room for 10 minutes straight. What happened was extraordinary. After less than a minute, participants began reporting that their faces were changing. Features appeared to shift, melt, and morph. Some saw monstrous faces, others saw dead relatives. Some even saw animals or creatures that shouldn't exist. This phenomenon is called the Troxler effect. Your visual system is designed to detect movement and changes, not static images. When you stare at something unchanging in low light, your brain literally starts to delete parts of the image, especially in your peripheral vision. Your own face becomes unrecognizable. The shadows deepen. The proportions seem wrong. And your brain, desperate to make sense of what it's seeing, fills in the gaps with something else, something other. The power of sensory deprivation. But the Troxler effect is just the beginning. When you perform the Bloody Mary ritual, you're also experiencing sensory deprivation. You're in a dark, silent space. Your brain is receiving minimal input from your senses. Studies on isolation tanks and solitary confinement show that when the brain doesn't get enough sensory information, it starts generating its own. Hallucinations, phantom sounds, the sensation of being watched. Your brain literally creates experiences out of nothing, just to have something to process. The expectation effect. Then there's the psychological setup. Before you even step into that bathroom, you already know what's supposed to happen. You've heard the stories. You've been warned. Maybe your friends are waiting outside, egging you on. Your heart is already racing. Your body has flooded with adrenaline. You're in fight or flight mode. And in that state, your brain becomes hypervigilant, interpreting every tiny shadow, every flicker of candlelight, every creak of the house as a potential threat. Pareidolia. Seeing faces everywhere. Humans are hardwired to recognize faces. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. We need to quickly identify friend from foe, predator from prey. This leads to pareidolia, the tendency to see faces in random patterns. We see faces in burnt toast, in clouds, in the bark of trees. It's automatic and unconscious. So imagine what happens in a dark mirror with shifting candlelight creating dancing shadows. Your brain is desperately searching for patterns, for faces, and it will find them, even when they're not really there. The perfect storm. When you combine all of these factors, visual distortion, sensory deprivation, heightened expectation, adrenaline, and pareidolia, you've created the perfect conditions for a paranormal experience that feels absolutely, terrifyingly real. The experience is genuine. The fear is genuine. The memory is genuine. But it's all generated by your own mind, not by a supernatural entity. And yet, that doesn't make it any less powerful. Understanding the psychology behind Bloody Mary doesn't diminish the legend. If anything, it makes it more interesting. Because the real question is, why does this particular legend refuse to die? Bloody Mary has survived across generations. Kids who did it in the 1970s have grandchildren doing it today. It's spread across the entire world. Japan has similar rituals. Latin America has variants. Even remote communities have their own versions. The legend has been featured in dozens of movies and TV shows. Urban legends, Bloody Mary, Supernatural, American Horror Story, countless horror short films and creepypastas, and in the age of social media, Bloody Mary has found new life. TikTok videos of people attempting the ritual get millions of views. YouTube reaction videos keep the legend alive for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. But I think the real reason Bloody Mary survives is simpler. It serves a purpose. For preteens and teenagers, it's a rite of passage, a way to test your courage, a way to bond with your friends over shared fear. Child psychologists note that controlled fear experiences are actually healthy for development. They teach us to manage anxiety, to face the unknown, to support each other through scary situations. Bloody Mary is a safe scare. You're in your friend's house. The bathroom door is unlocked. You can run away at any moment. But in that brief window, you're confronting something primal, The fear of the dark, the fear of the supernatural, the fear of what might be looking back at you from the other side of the mirror. And there's something deeper too. Mirrors have always unsettled us. They show us ourselves, but reversed. Not quite right, slightly wrong. In mythology and folklore across cultures, mirrors are portals, gateways between worlds. When we look into a mirror, especially in low light, and our reflection becomes unfamiliar, we're confronted with an existential question. If that's not quite me, then what is it? And what does it see when it looks back? Bloody Mary is the personification of that unease. She's every fear we've ever had about mirrors, about the dark, about things that exist just outside our perception. And that's why she'll never truly disappear. Even today, in an age of smartphones and scientific literacy, people still report genuine encounters with Bloody Mary, and some of these stories are truly chilling. Let me share a few recent accounts from across the internet, posted by user NeverAgain 2019. I was 16 and my friends dared me to do it. I thought it was stupid kid stuff, but I went into my bathroom, lit a candle, and said her name 13 times. At first, nothing happened. Then I noticed my reflection's eyes looked wrong, like they were looking at something behind me instead of at me. I spun around. Nothing. When I looked back at the mirror, there were handprints on the glass. Small handprints, like a child's. I didn't sleep for a week. Posted by user Skeptical No More. I'm a biology major. I know how the brain works. I did this as an experiment to prove it was just psychological. But halfway through chanting, the candle went out. Completely. No wind-sealed bathroom. And in the darkness, I heard whispering. I still have the audio recording on my phone. You can hear it, I can't explain it. Posted by user Believer, now 89. 4 of us did it together at a sleepover. We all saw the same thing at the same time. A woman's silhouette appeared in the mirror behind us. All 4 of us screamed and ran. We're all adults now. We never talk about it, but we all remember. Are these stories true, exaggerated, completely fabricated? There's no way to know for certain. But what we do know is that these experiences feel real to the people who have them. And that reality, that genuine terror, is what keeps the legend alive. So where does that leave us? Is Bloody Mary real? The historical figures she might be based on were real. The psychological and neurological phenomena that create the experience are absolutely real. The fear, the cultural impact, the stories passed down through generations, all real. But a literal ghost who appears in mirrors to terrorize children? Science would say no, and yet there's something haunting about the fact that millions of people across cultures and generations have looked into a mirror in the dark and seen something they can't explain. Something that shouldn't be there. Maybe Bloody Mary is real in the way that all powerful legends are real, not as a physical entity, but as a shared cultural nightmare, a collective fear given form, a story so powerful that it creates its own reality in the minds of believers. Or maybe, just maybe, there's something about mirrors and darkness and forbidden rituals that opens a door. Just a crack, just enough for something on the other side to look through. The only way to know for sure is to try it yourself. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.